What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Showdown breakdown here on Sharp Sports Network. I'm your host, Joe Beer, and I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite plays for this January 9th NBA Showdown game between the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Last night's showdown between the Bucks and the Warriors went absolutely incredible. Giannis at captain was a great play to have. Alec Burks at captain as well, that was talked about in the video, was another incredible play. A bunch of value plays in there as well. So we're pretty much 2 for 2 on these showdowns and looking to continue it tonight. So let's jump into it. A bunch of revenge game here. Russell Westbrook going back to Oklahoma City, first time back. I expect the emotions to be high. I expect him to be my favorite captain over here on DraftKings for cash games. It fits very well with the lineup. It's really tough to get James Harden in at captain. If you just look, it's $21,900, almost $22,000. It's like $7,000 less than Russell Westbrook. It's pretty much impossible to get him into a captain spot with a lineup that you actually like with a bunch of other complementing players. But there are a few value plays I really want to talk about on the slate that are really going to allow you to get somebody like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chris Paul or Clint Capella in your lineup. So first up, Danilo Gallinari is going to miss this game again, and Terrence Ferguson is the direct beneficiary of that last game Gallinari missed. Although he only had 10.5 fantasy points, he played 40 minutes. He played 40 minutes in this game, and minutes equal points. So I think Terrence Ferguson is pretty much a plug-and-play in any lineup you build tonight. I think it's really easy to play Terrence Ferguson. 10 to 15 fantasy points, he meets value. So it's not too crazy. So I really like Terrence Ferguson here today as another value. PJ Tucker as well. Regardless if Russell Westbrook is in or out, Harden's in or out, PJ Tucker's always going to play 35-plus minutes. It's just what he's been doing this entire year. Last game, he absolutely snapped with Russell Westbrook out. So we're having kind of a lull here, but we don't really need much to make value. 20 fantasy points, and we'll be absolutely fine. Now, from there, we're going to pretty much have our pick at some of these upper-tier players. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is definitely my favorite play from the Oklahoma City Thunder on this slate. He has absolutely crushed value in the past times that these teams have met. He has scored 48 fantasy points in one match and 46 in the other, so I really like him a ton. And then Dennis Schroeder against the bench of the bench of the Houston Rockets is going to be pretty much cake. I love Dennis Schroeder here. I expect he plays a ton. So with this build, you pretty much get 4 studs. So you can pick whoever you want, Clint Capella or Chris Paul. Obviously, either one of these. I would probably lean Clint Capella, but Chris Paul is definitely... they're pretty much equal. Chris Paul is going to put up 35-plus fantasy. Clint Capella is going to put up the same. They both have incredible matchups, but I just prefer the rebounding upside to Clint Capella here. So this would be a lineup, or you would roll with something like this. Either way, both of them work, but I just don't want to have not enough exposure to the Houston Rockets side of the game. So for tournaments here, I definitely think that trying to get James Harden is going to set you apart a little bit. And fading Russell Westbrook is going to set you apart as well. So in tournaments, I'm probably going to want to captain somebody like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and pair him with James Harden. I think this is an incredible pairing. SGA has just been incredible lately. I really love his upside here in this matchup. They're terrible against point guards. They're 28th in the league against guards. Russell Westbrook and James Harden play 0 defense. So we're going to plug in Terrence Ferguson and PJ Tucker again. We're going to be left with this 6K range. Play somebody like Dennis Schroeder again, and then probably Eric Gordon off the bench is who I would play, or Basley, who has gotten some run with getting Gallinari off the court. I'll probably play Eric Gordon in this spot and just go from there. Now, if you don't want to play somebody like James Harden in this spot, or you want to make it easier to get James Harden in, I would recommend captaining Dennis Schroeder. I think he's going to get a ton of run today, and I think it's going to make it very easy to get 3 studs in this lineup. With Terrence Ferguson and PJ Tucker, you're going to be left with 7.1K left. You're not enough to get one of these higher studs, but you can get Eric Gordon and leave some salary on the table just to make yourself different from the other lineups out there. So for me, I think Dennis Schroeder or SGA are probably my 2 favorite GPP captains. And then James Harden is optional. You don't have to play. You can play SGA with Russ, PJ Tucker, Ferguson. You're left with 8K left. You could play Clint Capella and then run it back with Dennis Schroeder. You can get 4 studs in the lineup really easily over here. This leaves 900 salary on the table, which is definitely something that makes you different in these showdown lineups. The first lineup with Russell Westbrook at captain doesn't leave much on the table. It leaves about 200 if you play Capella, about 400 if you play Chris Paul. So with SGA or Dennis Schroeder at the captain spot, you're really going to leave some needed salary on the table. I mean, you could definitely go this. You're still leaving $1,700 on the table. So it's pretty easy to make these lineups work over here on DraftKings. Over here on Fanduel, James Harden is $17K. If you try plugging him into the captain spot, you're pretty much not getting any of these guys. PJ Tucker is low value, and so is Terrence Ferguson at $6K. So you can actually probably get 2 studs. You can get SGA, and then you can probably get Russ. So you can get Russ and James in the same lineup over here on FanDuel. I don't really have too much interest in trying to captain James Harden over here in cash games. I don't mind it, but I would just probably rather try and get Russ in this line. I'd rather try and get more studs. So I'd rather try and captain Russ, play SGA, play Terrence Ferguson again, and play PJ Tucker. I just want to play the minutes here. I like PJ Tucker at 8.5K, and then you're left with 17K. You're left with 17.5. You can even play Chris Paul, leave some salary on the table, take PJ Tucker, move him up, and play Clint Capella. I mean, you can play SGA, Russ, Clint Capella, and Chris Paul in this lineup over here on FanDuel. I absolutely love this lineup. It's not tough to play a ton of studs on the slate today. I think it's actually really easy for this slate today. So like I said, just to round this out, captains for me, safest play is probably Russell Westbrook on both sides. GPP is probably SGA or Dennis Schroeder, who's pretty underpriced here on FanDuel at 10K if you wanted to try and jam a few in more studs. So that would pretty much be it for me on DraftKings and FanDuel. I think it's definitely worth looking at potentially trying to fit James Harden in, but it's just really tough. So I would just probably roll with Russ, SGA, or Dennis Schroeder at captain on both sides, and then go from there. Good luck to everybody. Hopefully everybody is cashed on these past 2 showdowns and main slates based on our videos. I will see you all tomorrow for another NBA Showdown breakdown here on Sharp Sports Network. Peace.